Well, welcome back to Circuit Zolder for the final time this weekend in the 2020 NASCAR Whelen Euro Series. Racing in this corner of the Limburg area of Belgium has been going on for 50 years, would you believe? Zolder Motor Club originally started organising events around the town square for a number of years. It was then decided to seek out something a little more permanent and less dangerous, you could argue. So the wooded area on the outskirts of town, close to the canal, appeared to be ideal, as it already had a number of roads which could be joined together to form a circuit. The original, fairly primitive circuit was just 1.56 or 2.6 kilometres long, although that was a considerable step up from the street races that they'd had before. And Zolder was born in reality. This circuit contains 16 turns nowadays. In particular, heavy braking areas into the chicanes at turns number 5 and 6, into the Villeneuve chicane at turns number 8 and 9, and the final chicane as well, which is the Jackie X chicane 15 and 16. Great to be back here in Belgium. We've already had some fantastic racing throughout the course of this weekend, albeit we had slightly a safety car interrupted race, to say the least, for the EuroNASCAR 2 race earlier on today. If you were watching it, we'll bring you some updates on how the championship stands for that one. But what we're going to do before the cars head out of the pit lane and onto the circuit is we're going to look back at some of the highlights from yesterday's EuroNASCAR Pro race, because those are the cars that are coming out onto track in a few moments' time. So let's see what happened yesterday. So yesterday it was a first career win in EuroNASCAR Pro for Lasse Sorensen from Mark Goossens and Alan Day, and they will all be doing battle again very shortly indeed around this circuit. It's going to be an 18-lap race for our final race of the weekend for the NASCAR Whelen Euro Series, and well, we've already seen some great racing throughout the course of the weekend. This circuit is one that the drivers thoroughly enjoy, and if you've not already watched some of the racing, we managed to catch up with the man who will line up on the second row of the grid for this race. Jacques Villeneuve just talked us round a lap.
Zolder, a very complicated track in NASCAR anyway. Turn 1, there's no reference point for braking, so, and it's all dark. also, so visually it's difficult to see where the corner is. And it's a very wide corner where you can turn in tight, wide, many different lines, complex. Then you arrive into turn 2 where you just have to carry speed. You slow down, but you don't brake hard. And you have to carry speed through the corner, and all the way out, it's always turning. It's not a corner where the exit is straight. Then turn 3 is completely flat out with a little bit of banking. That's not so bad, in the dry anyway. Turn 4 is a corner where you just touch the brakes a little bit and you carry the speed in. It's quite quick. Then you get into a chicane that's not very fun to drive, and you have to take a lot of curbing, so you can lose a lot of time. You also damage the car when you take a lot of curb and go fast. Then you go over the hump. It's a blind corner, but it's flat out into the next chicane, which is quite tight, very slippery. There's tires to avoid. If you can take the curbs a lot, you can gain a lot of time. The whole exit is in acceleration. The first bit you have to lift a little bit to make the car turn, then it's flat out all the way. The car normally moves a little bit, but you manage to just make it flat out. To get into the hairpin, you hit the brakes as you get off the hill at the bottom. Very tight corner, so the tendency is to go straight, to lock the rear wheels. Maybe put first gear if you have understeer to turn the car. Difficult corner, an overtaking zone. Last acceleration into the last chicane where there's also the pit entrance. Also a tight corner in second gear where there's a heavy braking and should be another braking zone. But if you mess up there, then you won't have any good exit and you'll get overtaken to the next straight line.
So there we go, that's Jacques Villeneuve's view on Circuit Zolder, and we are competing on the 4 kilometre or 2.485 mile layout. So the national anthems have just been playing in the build-up to our final EuroNASCAR Pro race of the weekend. If we look at what happened in yesterday's race, well, Lasse Sorensen claimed a win, and as we said, that was his first career win in the EuroNASCAR Pro division. He is not going to be there from where he ought to be, though, on the grid, because it looks as though there is going to be a gap where he should be. Now, there are a few cars that were involved in what was quite a fraught race for EuroNASCAR 2 earlier on, and some of those have been repaired by the teams. Others have unfortunately fallen by the wayside. So the front row of the grid, both of those cars were involved in incidents, and we'll sort of talk about what's been going on behind the scenes very, very shortly. But Lasse Sorensen, who was scheduled to line up on the 4th row of the grid, you can see there's a gap behind the yellow and black car of Gianmarco Ercoli. So that looks as though we are going to see Lasse off the back of the grid. He leads the championship as well, so the win yesterday on top of 2 strong results, but inside the top 6, but just off the podium at Vallelunga, means that Lasse Sorensen, who's going to start off the back of the grid because the car's still being repaired, is on 107 points coming into this race. Second in the championship is double former champion, which is Alan Day, who starts on the front row in this one. He's 5 points adrift. And what will be 11 points off the lead of Lasse Sorensen is Gianmarco Ercoli's car. And Gianmarco is going to line up on the 3rd row of the grid, the yellow car with the black flashes to it. So let's just guide you through the grid then for this one. On pole position, as the bits of sweeping up are being done. Pole position is the silver and blue car to the right of your screens. That is Stinis Longines. Some damage from the race earlier on where Julia Landau was driving that car. It's got a new right-hand side to the car as a result of the damage, but the car is absolutely fine. PK Carsport have turned it round. And to the outside of the front row of the grid, it's car number 24, Alan Day. PK Carsport have also had to turn that car round as well. Heavy damage in the hands of Guillaume Dumoulin in the EuroNASCAR 2 race earlier on. But they've managed to get that car onto the grid, so well done to PK Carsport, who occupy both positions on the front row of the grid. Onto row number 2, that's where we see the number 5 car. There is Lasse Sorensen ready to start from the pit lane, so watch out for that car when we get things going underway. He should work his way up through the order. So row number 2 of the grid is 5, that is Jacques Villeneuve. And alongside is going to be 98, which is the car of Mark Goossens. Now, in the hands of Dylan Derdala earlier, that car of Mark Goossens also suffered some minor damage, but it is there, it is on the grid. So the orange car to your left-hand side of the screen on the 2nd row is the one I'm talking about. Row number 3 of the grid, it's 54, the yellow and black car. You can just see the front end of it on the right-hand side of your screen, Gianmarco Ercoli. And alongside is number 50. Just tucked behind Mark Goossens' car, you can't quite see it, but that is Loris Hazemans, the reigning EuroNASCAR Pro champion, still suffering with pain to his right wrist. He had an off where the throttle stuck open in qualifying yesterday and damaged the car, but it also damaged his wrist as well. So Loris, yesterday did a good job of at least bringing the car home for some points. It was 19th position, didn't quite work for him, so he'll be hoping for better things today. But as I say, he's driving with some bracing on his wrist. And alongside them, onto the fourth row of the grid, that's where we'll have the gap where Lasse Sorensen should be. Lots of damage from that car earlier on. It looks pristine. You'd never know that it was involved in quite a skirmish earlier on in the hands of Andreas Jochumsen, the Danish driver, but his fellow countryman now taking over that car, but it will start from the pit lane, as we say. So on his own on the fourth row of the grid is number 42, which is Luigi Ferreira. Row number 5 of the grid is 12. That's the Solaris Motorsport Chevy of Francisco Sidi, alongside number 88, the Cal Racing car in the hands of Tomo Ferrando. And row 6 of the grid is number 7, Martin Dubeck, already twice a race winner this weekend, but both of those wins coming in EuroNASCAR 2. He's sticking with the car in EuroNASCAR 1 this weekend and driving in both. For company, he has number 22, which is Nicola Rocca on row number 6. The 7th row of the grid is 89, Davide Dallara, and number 33, which is Luca Lasser, double former champion, of course, Luca. Row 8 of the grid is number 99, Justin Kuntz, the German driver, alongside number 8, which was Dario Carzo. Now, in the race earlier on, the number 8 car suffered lots of damage, it looked like, but it was really just all bodywork damage and cosmetic damage. So again, that car has been turned around and does make it onto the grid. Row 9 of the grid is 31, Mauro Trione, and number 18, Giorgio Maggi, a little bit out of position. Giorgio finished runner-up in EuroNASCAR 2 last year and has stepped up to the top flight for this year. And then row number 10 of the grid is 48, which is Yevgen Sokolovsky, and 6, which is Patrick Lamery. The final row of the grid is number 17, if it's made it out, which I think it's probably not. Bernardo Manfredi, I think, will be missing from the tail end of the field. So that gives you the full field. The cars are ready to be fired into life as and when those immortal words are given for the drivers to start their engines. And as we say, Lasse Sorensen, the man who leads this championship, is going to have to start off the back of the grid. So it gives Alan Day on the outside of the front row of the grid the opportunity to maybe steal the march. He's just 5 points behind Lasse Sorensen, and whereas Lasse starts from the pit lane, Alan Day starts from the front row of the grid, so really gives him a good opportunity to potentially leave Zolder and head towards the Czech Republic and Most in the lead of the EuroNASCAR Pro Championship. So it has been declared a wet race, which again, as I mentioned earlier on, really that decision means that it's up to the teams and the drivers to decide what tyres they want. Now, it has dried up here in Belgium over the course of the day, but we've had a few sprinkles of rain again over the course of the last few minutes. And again, a bit like we saw earlier on, tyre choice is going to be critical, depending on what they think. You can see there's blue bits to the sky, but there's still some clouds there. I think for me, the decision would be slicks in this one, but as I mentioned earlier on, nice and easy when you're sat in the commentary box, less so when you're behind the wheel. So the driver's given the instructions to start their engines, and we'll get going on the rolling lap very, very shortly. As for the EuroNASCAR 2 division, if you're watching the racing earlier on, not that we had much of it because of the safety car interventions, Tobias Dauenhauer has lost the lead of the championship. Vittorio Garelli now picks up the lead of the EuroNASCAR 2 champion, the Italian driver, by just 2 points from Tobias Dauenhauer. And just a single point off that is the third place driver, which is Alessandro Brigatti. Vladimir Joitsis, the Cypriot driver, 4th in the championship for him, with Guillaume Dumoulin and Ariana Cassely both tied for 5th in the championship. So that just gives you the update on EuroNASCAR 2, if you're wondering what the current points arrangements are for that one. So drivers will be heading off on the rolling lap very shortly indeed. Remember, 18 laps of racing is about to come up. Stinus Longines on the front row of the grid, with one single win in EuroNASCAR Pro under his belt. That came here at Zolder, at his home circuit, when we had the finals here in October of last year. So it's 12 months ago since Stinus Longines claimed his first win in EuroNASCAR Pro, and so far his only win in that. He's got plenty of wins in EuroNASCAR 2. He's second in the all-time win list for that, with 9 wins in total before he stepped up to EuroNASCAR Pro. And well, alongside him is Alan Day, twice a former champion, and the driver in terms of overall wins in EuroNASCAR Pro is second in the all-time list. He's got 20 wins under his belt, but June of last year was the last time he took a win. There's Lasse Sorensen, so not a pit lane start as such. He'll be released from the pit lane and will be able to line up at the tail end of the field. Watch out for the Big Dane. as he will look to try and carve his way through the order, and particularly if there's any skirmishes as well and cars go off, he'll very easily pick his way through and past them. So let's see what he might be able to do, the 23-year-old Danish driver from the tail end of the field, say the reigning EuroNASCAR 2 champion. He was also a champion in Formula 4 in France as well. He's about 6'3". It always amazed me how he could cram himself in a single seater, but as he said to me last year, it was before he had his growing spurt in reality. His exact words, he said, I never used to be this tall, I could fit in a single seater, and he made the right decision, I suppose, swapping over from karts and single seaters into the NASCARs, and has actually done a fair chunk of esports racing as well in the lockdown period, including the virtual 24-hour of Le Mans, where he was one of the Aston Martin drivers. So there's number 54. That's the car of Gianmarco Ercoli, claimed his second career win in EuroNASCAR Pro, and unfortunately going rather slowly is Nicola Rocca, which suggests that all might not be well with his car. Looked as though he's going slowly. Is all okay with that car? Because it does look as though it is, even on the formation lap, not doing what it should be doing. No, I'm afraid problems for Nicola Rocca, who is parking the car to the side of the circuit. Now that is just coming out of the cleaner chicane and heading up towards Sacrament-Schelling. So the marshals will hopefully be able to get that car out of the way. If not, then we might have to have the safety car out there for a bit longer. There's a little gap which should allow the marshals to get it out of harm's way. So disastrous for the 26-year-old. The Italian is not even going to get the start the race, I'm afraid. He finished, Nicola Rocca, third in EuroNASCAR Pro last year. He was runner-up in the Junior Championship, for which he was still eligible last year. He's now of an age that he can't do that anymore. Now, Junior Championships, it's only open for drivers aged 25 and under. Well, he's now 26, Nicola Rocca, so last year was his last ever outing as a junior driver. He was fourth in the standings back in 2016 as well. We are going to get an extra safety car lap because of Nicola Rocca's car that has retired out there on circuit, and for the former Formula Renault Italy competitor, he's not even going to get to start this one. So extra formation lap for the cars. This is not a safety car lap, this is an extra formation lap, so it will, I don't think, count towards the 18. Otherwise the race would be underway if it were a safety car start, but it's extra formation lap, get the car out of harm's way, and then we can crack on with it. So it gives the drivers a bit more time to just weave from side to side to build those temperatures. Watch out for that car from the tail end of the field, Lasse Sorensen, see what he might be able to do. We've seen him win races from the back of the grid before. He did that at Brands Hatch last year when he was racing in EuroNASCAR 2. The marshals doing a great job as ever of getting Nicola Rocca's car out of harm's way, so just pushing it downhill, and then there should be a little gap in the fence that they'll be able to get it out of the way, and hopefully that will be done before the end of this next formation lap. The weather has been more than changeable in Belgium over the course of this weekend, with a mixture of absolute downpours and then some beautiful sunshine as well. But on the whole, for today, it's been quite difficult, certainly for the EuroNASCAR 2 drivers, as to which tyre to use. And so the teams will all have been looking to the sky for this one as well, just to try and work out that, yes, slicks and the slick tyre, the general tyre, that they are all able to use. They've only got 4 tyres available for them this weekend. They will only have 2 tyres, new tyres available for them when we head towards Most for the next round. And the other 2 that they're going to have to use have to be carried over from this racing here. So Nicola Rocca's car now out of harm's way. We should hopefully now be good to go at the end of this lap. Now they will get themselves into 2x2 order once they head out of turn number 12. They're really just coming through turn number 11 currently, which is Terlaman Bocht. And then as they head up towards Bolderberg Bocht, it's the exit of that corner, turn 12, where they will then get themselves into 2x2 order. So it was going to be door handle to door handle with the car to your left or your right. I said bumper to bumper earlier on, but it's really close to the car ahead. I think the official wording for last year was bumper to bumper, but for this year it's it's not open to interpretation. You've got to be close still. You can't hang back and then accelerate into the gap, because that will be picked up on by the officials. So you've got to be close to the car ahead. I think roughly within a metre is the guide that they want you to do, but the drivers know what they need to do. But there is going to be one very frustrated spectator for Nicola Rocca, where he's retired the car is literally the back of the paddock area. So I would imagine he'll be heading into the paddock to chat to the DF1 team and let them know exactly what happened on that first formation lap and why the number 22 Chevy failed him on this occasion. So safety car will peel its way left and in towards the gap that exists there. No, it's going to go down the pit lane this time. It's been going the other way all weekend. So we're about to get the racing underway for the final time this weekend. We are about to go racing at Circuit Zolder in the NASCAR Whelen Euro Series, EuroNASCAR Pro Division. And buckle up, everybody. We're about to go green for 18 laps of racing. Stinis Longines and Alan Day, the two teammates on the front row of the grid. The PK Car Sport cars get the drop and head up towards Erst, turn number 1, with Stinis Longines having his nose ahead of Alan Day, who tries to sweep across the nose of Jacques Villeneuve and hang on to second place, which he's done. Villeneuve's there in third place, and that looks as though in fourth position it is going to be Luigi Ferreira, I think, who's up into fourth place, who had a really good start, I think, there. We'll pick up on that. Watch out, of course, for, from the tail end of the grid, Lasse Sorensen, who'll be looking to carve his way through the order at the wheel of the number 66 car. Yeah, it is. It's Luigi Ferreira who is up into third position and is pushing hard in the early stages. So Luigi Ferreira is third. Jacques Villeneuve's tumbled down through the order. Now, quite what's caused him to drop down through the order, I'm not entirely sure, but Jacques Villeneuve has dropped well and truly down through the order. Stinis Longines leads, Alan Day in second place, Luigi Ferreira in third position. Not sure that there might have been a bit of contact between himself and Jacques Villeneuve, and that might have been the cause of Villeneuve's drop down through the order. Gianmarco Ercoli, the race winner from the second of the two races at Vallelunga, is sitting there in fourth currently, with Mark Goosens in fifth place, and I think that's Loris Hazemans, the reigning champion, who completes the top 6 currently, in towards the braking area for Boulderback Bucht, and starting to accelerate their way through the little kink at Jochen Rindt, and then flat out down the straight in towards the Jackie chicane that concludes the lap here. So lap number 1 about to be concluded. Stinis Longines looking to try and grab a second consecutive victory here at Zolder, having claimed one at this equivalent race, the second race of the weekend, 12 months ago. He's got Alan Day with him, then Luigi Ferreira in the white car with the flashes down the side of it, the number 42 car, the Shadow Racing car with 42 Racing, sitting there in third place. Ferreira runs a little bit wide, though, coming out of Erst, which is turn number 1, and that's opened the door to try and allow Gianmarco Ercoli the opportunity, but for the moment, the number 54 Cal Racing car in the hands of the young Italian has to sit there in fourth. Lasse Sorensen making a little bit of progress in the early stages. He's gained 2 places. The number 66 car is up into 17th position. Stinis Longines and Alan Day are starting to gap Luigi Ferreira, who is under pressure from Gianmarco Ercoli. As Ercoli got the inside line, now he's too far away coming in towards the cleaner chicane, so can't quite make it through. There's the reigning champion down in 6th, Loris Hazemans, still struggling with that right wrist injury sustained in the qualifying crash. That happened yesterday morning. Locked brake there also. That was the unloaded wheel from Luigi Ferreira. He's the leading Ford that we have in the field, because it's Chevys 1 and 2 at the moment. It's also a Chevy that's there in fourth place, which is Gianmarco Ercoli. Mark Goosens and Loris Hazemans 5th and 6th in Fords. Tomo Ferrando in 7th. Luca Lasser in 8th. And it's the Hendricks Motorsport number 7 of Martin Dubek from Francisco Cini, who completes the top 12 for Solaris Motorsport. Lost any cars so far in this race. Everybody is still circulating. Start is under investigation, is what we are hearing, and also car number 22 is under investigation. That's the news that we are hearing. Now 22 is Nicola Rocca, so not exactly why that would be under investigation. He parked the car when it failed, but maybe the view is being taken that he could have parked it entirely out of harm's way, and that would have saved an extra safety car lap. But either way, it's not going to have an impact on Nicola Rocca, who didn't even start the race. So Stinis Longines half a second ahead of Alan Day. PK Car Sport 1-2 at this stage, and you can see they are quite close to each other as well, the two teammates. They'll be hugely conscious. What they don't want to do is take each other out. but equally as much, they've got their own championship to think about as well. Luigi Ferreira is being kept very honest by the 54 Cal Racing Chevy of Gianmarco Ercoli. Gianmarco Ercoli is the leading junior driver that we have in the field as well at this stage. Those aged under 25. The leading challenger driver, which is for the amateur drivers that we have in the order, is currently going the way of Mauro Trioni, who's down there at the wheel of the number 31 Cal Racing EuroNASCAR FJ in 11th position. So in towards the braking area for the third time of asking at Bucht. Stinus Longines having a bit more pressure applied from Alan Day. The two of them still lapping quicker than the cars behind. Great fights going on down through the order as well. But for the lead of the race, yeah, they're sort of pairing off, aren't they? Two for the lead, two for third. Loris Hazemans is now up into fourth place, up to fifth place at the expense of Mark Goosens, who's dropped down into sixth position. Number 98, Mark Goosens, another former race winner here at Zolder over the years. And now Gianmarco Ercoli is attacking Luigi Ferreira, heading up towards Erst. Can he squeeze his way through? No, not quite. It's still Ferreira just ahead of Ercoli. The two Italians rolling their sleeves up and slugging it out for the final podium place. Through to number 4 goes Stinus Longines, still under pressure from Alan Day all of the time. At the moment, Alan Day is just not close enough to try anything because Stinus Longines is not making any mistakes just as yet. Gianmarco Ercoli is now up to third place, ahead of Luigi Ferreira, who's now coming under pressure from Loris Hazemans. So 3 now, and looks as though Ferreira made a mistake there, heading through the cleaner chicane. That gives Loris Hazemans the run down in towards the braking area for the Villeneuve chicane as he made it through. Couldn't quite see in the background. The leading pair still together as well. Belgian leads, an Israeli second, an Italian that sits there in third place, and Loris Hazemans, who is Dutch, sitting there in fourth position. Ercoli, who is Italian, in fifth place. Completing the top 6 is a Belgian again, that being Mark Goosens, who started on fourth position and is now running down in sixth place, so losing a little bit of pace here is Mark Goosens at a circuit he knows very well indeed. Stinus Longines still pushing as hard as he can, needs to, because the gap first to second is still hovering just less than half a second. The support race that we had prior to going live with this one, with the EuroNASCAR Pro, was won by Bert Longines, which is Stinus's father. Bert is a former EuroNASCAR racer. We saw him sporadically appear last year, and it'd be quite fitting actually if we had father win one race and then the following race, the last EuroNASCAR Pro race of the weekend, is won by his son. But for Stinus Longines, there's still plenty of work to do. He's only done 4 laps so far of the scheduled 18, and as yet the pressure is not being let off at all by Alan Day, who brought the gap down to just under 0.4 of a second last time through. So the fight for the lead is most certainly on. Squabble behind still sees Gianmarco Ercoli, number 54, sitting there in fourth place. Loris Hazemans with the damaged and injured wrist sitting there in fourth position. Third place for Ercoli, all through the gravel trap, I'm afraid to say. That is eventually that car brought back onto the track and will continue. That is going to drop one of those cars way down through the order. I think it might have been Luca Lasserre possibly for Mitsubishi Motors, number 33, that lost the time through the chicane. Leading pair really have got a sizable gap, nearly 3 3/4 seconds from second back to third place. The cars start to string out towards the middle order of the top 10. But for the lead, absolutely nothing in it. In the first sector, Stinus Longines was 1/10 of a second quicker. He was 1/10 of a second quicker in the second sector as well, Stinus Longines. So the gap should be back up to about half a second, I would have thought, this time as they go over the start-finish line. From being 0.382, yeah, it's gone out to 0.556 this time through. Stinus Longines also with the best final sector that we've had in the race so far. So he's pushing hard here to try and maintain this very slender advantage he has between himself and the number 24 Monster Energy Chevy of double former champion Alan Day. At the moment, they are 3.1 seconds to the good of the cars behind. Gianmarco Ercoli, who is lapping quicker than the leading pair at this stage. He's been pushed along by Loris Hazemans, so he's got to keep pushing as hard as he can. So the third and fourth place cars starting to reel in the race leaders. Now 5 laps have been completed, leading pair through the cleaner chicane. Gianmarco Werkley still fighting away with Loris Hazemans. Luigi Ferreira, number 42, under pressure from Mark Goossens all of a sudden again. And is Goossens going to get a run on him here, heading towards the Villeneuve chicane? Could be a change for order. Leaders go through. Villeneuve looking to, Goossens looking to try and get up the inside there, I think, going in towards the Villeneuve chicane. Did he make it through? Yes, he did. Yep, so the orange car goes through and ahead now, up into 5th for Mark Goossens, down to 6th for the number 42 car of Luigi Ferreira. A good start from him, but it's just starting to unravel a little bit now, I'm afraid. Yeah, there he goes, the orange car of Mark Goossens, number 98, ahead now of the Shadow Racing. Big squeal of tyres in the background, and that is a half spin and getting pointed back round in the right direction for Francesco Sini. So the number 12 Solaris Motorsport car having had a spin, that will drop Francesco from what was 10th position down through the order, I'm afraid, as the leaders now head on to lap number 7. Now on that lap, the gap first to second came down and is now just 0.3 of a second. Number 88 carrying a bit of damage, that's Tomo Ferrando, former EuroNASCAR 2 champion from a few years ago, under pressure from his fellow countryman Luca Lasserre, double former champion, the number 33 car. But it doesn't look as though Luca is able to unlock the door there, the 41-year-old Frenchman, having to sit behind, and now all of a sudden we are side by side for the lead of the race as Alan Day, who set the fastest lap of the race last time through, now picks up the lead from his teammates. So it's still a PK Car Sport 1-2, but the order has shuffled between the pair of them. So it's Alan Day that leads, Stinis Longines in 2nd position. Alan Day's fastest lap last time through, 1 minute 37.248, means that he now has the fastest lap of the race. Doesn't give you any additional championship points, it's more for bragging rights rather than anything. And now that he has got through and ahead of Stinis Longines, can he pull away? We saw that spin for Francesco Sini a lap or so ago. Well, by the time he'd got the car pointing in the right direction, he had dropped down into 11th position from 10th. And we're now hearing that an incident at turn number 12, which is where he had his spin, is under investigation, and it's between cars number 12 and 5, so that's Francesco Sini and Jack Villeneuve that must have got together. They'll have a quick look at the footage, and if needs be, they will take action with regards to a drive-through penalty if that's thought to be deemed appropriate, or a time penalty at the end of the race. Day leads, the gap is just under 3/4 of a second between himself and the number 11 car of Stinis Longines. Our leading junior driver for those aged under 25 years of age is still in 3rd place, which is the number 54 Cal Racing Chevy of Gianmarco Werkley. So it's Chevys 1, 2 and 3 currently, and then Ford's in 4th, 5th and 6th place with the number 50 Hendricks Ford of Loris Hazemans, then the Cal Racing machine of Mark Goossens, followed by the number 42 car of Luigi Ferreira. Leaping over the curbs goes Alan Day, looking to try and extend his lead advantage a shade more. He was almost 1/10 of a second quicker that time through the first sector than Stinis Longines behind. Gianmarco Werkley cannot shake away Loris Hazemans, who, despite having injured his wrist yesterday in qualifying, is working hard at the wheel of that number 50 Hendricks Ford to see what he might be able to do. Needs the points, really, because it was a disappointing 19th position for him in yesterday's race. 19th place would still net him 18 championship points, which all can be important. And there's Jacques Villeneuve, I'm afraid. Villeneuve is out of the race. He retired whilst leading a race in Vallelunga, but he is out of the race here, and that looks as though it is heading into, the aptly named Villeneuve chicane. So out at that part of the circuit, and Jacques Villeneuve steps out of the car at the corner that's named after his late father, who was tragically killed at that part of the circuit. So Loris Hazemans, number 50 Hendricks Ford, circulating in 4th position. Remember, he is the reigning champion. Jacques Villeneuve's car being pushed out of the way by the marshal, so that will be behind the barriers and won't require anything other than just a localised yellow until it's out of harm's way. We also had a new fastest lap of the race last time through, and there is, Jacques Villeneuve. You can see, whatever the problem was, lots of smoke coming from the tail end of the car as though something has let go, and Jacques doing the sensible thing, getting the car out of harm's way immediately. Such a shame, though, that that's a couple of retirements. The big question is that has that deposited any fluid or lubricant or oil or anything at that part of the circuit. So there's Jack chatting to the marshals, which way to head back to the paddock. Yeah, generally in that direction, Jack. Not the easiest way to find yourself from that part of the circuit back to the paddock area, but Jack, yeah, that's the way I need to go. Sign language, it was obvious what they were discussing, but Jack will be heading back there. Now, this is the point of the circuit where the engine let go. It looks as though for Martin Dubeck, he was not overly affected by that. He's fighting away for 9th and 10th place. Francisco Sini is the car that's behind him. So Sini is now back to 10th place where he was before the spin. We've also got an incident at turn number 5 involving multiple cars, is all it says, is under investigation. But for Alan Day, he's just started to edge away in the lead of the race now. He's 2 seconds to the good from the number 11 car of Stinis Longines, but Stinis Longines is getting caught, and quickly, by Gianmarco Ercoli. The 3rd place, number 54 Cal Racing Chevy in the hands of the Italian, was a full second quicker last time through. So for Stinis Longines, he needs to get the hurry up here if he wants to hang on to 2nd place at his home NASCAR Grand Prix of Belgium. 9 laps completed. This is half distance there in reality. There goes our race leader Alan Day up towards the cleaner chicane for the 10th time. A little chicane as it's literally translated. Stinis Longines from Gianmarco Ercoli on this lap. I think Stinis Longines realised that he needs to get the hurry up, or the spotter has told him so, because he was 0.2 of a second quicker than the car that had been catching him in 3rd place, and that was just through the 1st sector. So top 3 through that part of the circuit. Sun glinting off the windscreens. It really has turned into a beautiful day here, and still threading his way through the order is number 66 Lasse Sorensen. Remember, he was in the pit lane and then had to start off the back of the grid. Well, the reigning EuroNASCAR 2 champion is just outside of the top 10 now in 11th position, and his lap times are for the moment not as quick as the cars ahead. That's largely because Francisco Sini is pushing hard in 10th place to try and unlock the door to 9th, and Martin Dubeck is having to respond. Both of those drivers setting their best individual lap times last time through. So they're pushing each other along, and that means Sorensen is no longer catching. 3rd, 4th and 5th still together as they head over the start-finish line. Gianmarco Ercoli looking to see what he might be able to do. Here is the slightly battered number 88 of Thomas Ferrando, still under pressure from Luca Lasser. Now, Mark Goossens last time through moved up into 4th position. Loris Hasemans, the reigning EuroNASCAR Pro Champion, dropped down into 5th place. So we have got problems for Loris Hasemans. Also saw Luigi Ferreira drop down a few places as well, because Thomas Ferrando and Luca Lasser went through, and Luigi Ferreira, who was running in the top 3 earlier on, wasn't he? He's now down into 8th position, so that's big problems for him. So through the Villeneuve chicane goes Alan Day, followed by Stinis Longines. Also lost Giorgio Maggi out there somewhere as well. I think within that part of the lap as well, he's in the 3rd sector somewhere. So Giorgio Maggi, the Swiss driver, at the wheel of the number 18 Hendricks Ford Mustang, has gone missing. The driver that stepped up from EuroNASCAR 2, where he was runner-up last year. Lasse Sorensen claiming the championship, both the champion and the vice-champion, you could argue, or runner-up, both moving up to the top flight for this year. But for Alan Day, twice a former champion, just breaking away all of the time now. Lap time last time through was about 0.4 of a second quicker than Stinis Longines, bringing the gap up to 1.6 seconds, but it's going to extend by almost double that this time. It's now up to 2.5 seconds. Alan Day leads by, and Stinis Longines is just getting caught, actually, by the car behind. Gianmarco Ercoli, not by much, but Ercoli is just closing the gap. There they go, through shot now, the blue car, Stinis Longines, the yellow car is Gianmarco Ercoli, sitting there in 3rd position, and this is still the fight that's going on. Thomas Ferrando in 6th place and Luca Lasser in 7th, the 2 Frenchmen absolutely together, but at the moment it's the 23-year-old Frenchman Thomas Ferrando, who was the EuroNASCAR 2 champion back in 2017, that is just ahead of the EuroNASCAR Pro champion from 2009-2010. Good little squabble those two are having. You see Thomas Ferrando just raising the dust. He moved over to Cal Racing for the 2019 championship season. Partway through the year he moved to Cal and has been very settled since he arrived there. Luca Lasser driving for Mishu Motors again this year. And the two of them are pushing hard, actually. Are their lap times any quicker than the cars ahead? No, they're pushing hard but slowing each other up as they squabble, so they're actually getting caught by the cars behind. However, there is quite a gap between Luca Lasser and the car behind. It's about 7 seconds, so the rate of close is not going to be sufficient. 11 laps completed, 18 scheduled, of course, so race leader is now on lap number 12. And for Alan Day, it's a comfortable lead of 2.5 seconds now. Stinis launching through Erst, turn number 1. Now you can see just how much Erkeli has caught him over the last lap or so. Another 1/10 of a second taken out of the second place car last time through. Can the Cal Racing Chevy, in the hands of the junior driver, the leading junior in the race, try and move his way through? Now Erkeli at Vallelunga claimed what was a 3rd position in the first race of the weekend, and in the second race of the weekend claimed to win. Yesterday's race for Gianmarco Erkeli was also one that saw him finish in a reasonable position as well. He was 5th yesterday, so Erkeli accumulating good championship points so far this year, and in reality that's what you need to do. There are no dropped rounds for this year. There's no joker round that you can get rid of, so everything counts. And for Gianmarco Erkeli, he will be weighing up the possibilities. He's quicker probably than Stinis Longin, but is it worth damaging the car for 1 extra championship points? And that is all it would be between finishing 3rd and finishing in 2nd place. So the driver continually having to weigh that up. 40 points for a win, 35 for 2nd, 34 for 3rd, and so on. It diminishes from a point thereafter. Oh, double retirement for Feedfit Racing, I'm afraid. There is the number 6 car out of the race as well, Patrick Lemery. So that's 2 race retirements for Patrick, who has co-founded this team with Jacques Villeneuve for the 2020 championship season. Ex-champ car racer, was briefly a Formula 1 test driver for BAR, was Patrick Lemery. We've seen him racing in the American Le Mans Series, the European Le Mans Series, at Le Mans itself. Formula 3000 he got to in his single-seater career, and he competed in the Formula 3 Championship back in France. 52-year-old in for the full season, but a difficult weekend for him, retiring after just 5 laps in yesterday's race and retiring after 11 laps in today's. So he's not, even if you add the 2 together, that's still only 16 laps. The full race distance in EuroNASCAR Pro is 18, so he's not even managed a race distance over what you could argue has been a tough old weekend for him. So 13 laps completed. Still this fight going on for 2nd and 3rd place. Stinis Longin and Gianmarco Erkeli. There's traffic just up the road as well that they might have to deal with before too much longer. So Stinis Longin can't afford to be compromised by the slower cars if they catch them. He'll be hopeful that the marshals wave the blue flags, which is the indication to the slower car that the quick cars are approaching, and from there it's really up to, if it's a straight, maybe the car ahead to move offline and blend out of the throttle, but if you catch him in the wrong place, the back marker can't disappear. It's up to you as the quicker car to find your way through. Now that is Stinis Longin, who's coming into the pit lane, I'm afraid to say. So Erkeli effortlessly is going to work his way up into 2nd position now. So Gianmarco Erkeli up into 2nd place, and poor old Stinis Longin, race winner here earlier on in the 2019 season, the back end of it, is out of the race, I'm afraid to say, or for the moment in the pit lane with the car being inspected. That was a car that did suffer damage in the race earlier on in the hands of Julia Landau. It does make me wonder if maybe there is just something not quite right with that car following its contact in the EuroNASCAR Pro race earlier on. 14 laps completed. Alan Day now comfortably leading by 4.7 seconds. Here he comes up towards the cleaner chicane for the 15th time. Gianmarco Erkeli in the yellow number 54 Cal Racing Chevy in 2nd place, and it should now promote up into 3rd position. Mark Goossens should be up at the 3rd place, will be the leading Ford, I would have thought. Yeah, there he goes, bouncing over the curbs. Mark Goossens sharing the car with Dylan Derdala, who has also been out racing in one of the support races and finished on the podium earlier on today. Stinus Longines is back on track. Must have been a drive-through penalty for Stinus Longines, possibly. So he is still out there on circuit. So Stinus Longines pushing hard. Now we saw a mistake for Stinus Longines up at the Jackie X chicane in race number 1, which caused a spin for him. I do wonder whether he just missed his braking point at that part of the circuit and rejoined, because the way he sort of came into the pit lane, it was across the grass at that point. So it does make me wonder if it's just simply a case of missing the braking point and having to push on, because yeah, there he goes now. He's in 4th position, isn't he? So it was just a case of missing the braking point and then trying to get back on track as quickly as possible to minimise the impact of it. Lots of damage to Dario Carzo, the number 8 car. No further action for Stinus Longines as a result of his corner cutting, because he did not gain an advantage, is what we're hearing from race control. We've still got the 2 Frenchmen at it as well. Thomas Ferrando in the number 88 car, bearing the scars of how close the battle has been over the course of this race so far. Still keeping at bay Luca Lasser, who looks at the inside, this time heading up in towards turn number 2, which is Sterneback booked, but couldn't quite squeeze his way through. So they are still fighting over over 6th and 7th places. They've only got 2 more laps to try and sort this one out, because the race leader is now on lap number 16. Luca Lasser looking one way, looking the other. Thomas Ferrando just making sure that he's able to cover the move off should it come. There's traffic as well that they need to consider before too much longer. That's just up the road, and for Thomas Ferrando, he can't afford to catch it in the wrong place, and he's going to catch it slap bang in the middle of the Villeneuve chicane. Luca Lasser thinks that's the opportunity. The 2 of them absolutely side by side heading in towards the chicane, and fantastic stuff from Luca Lasser. Absolutely utilised that back marker to a beautiful degree to squeeze his way through, and there was nothing Thomas Ferrando could do about it. That was queued up coming out of the cleaner chicane and finally delivered, samped, steeled and delivered at the Villeneuve chicane. And Luca Lasser using all of his experience to make sure that he was able to get the car in the right place and go through. Fair play to Thomas Ferrando. He squeezed as much as he dare. The 2 of them close to each other. I think a little bit of bodywork side to side, but nothing more than that, because Thomas Ferrando will know that once the door is open, you can't just shut it. You have to make sure that you leave the other driver room, and fair play to them. Great racing between the pair of them, but now Luca Lasser is tasked with the unenviable task of trying to see whether he can hang on to the place. So up to 6th for Lasser, down to 7th for Thomas Ferrando. So the order at the moment, Alan Day leading by 3.5 seconds from Gianmarco Ercoli, who is now 9 seconds adrift. Alan Day looking for win number 21 of his NASCAR Whelen Euro Series career. That would move him 1 win away from the overall record of Ander Villarino, which stands at 22 wins. And Alan Day has been very focused over the course of the last year or so that he wants to be the lead all-time winner in the EuroNASCAR Pro Division, the NASCAR Whelen Euro Series. And the last 12 months, the wins have been fewer and further between, but he knows that over the course of this season, with Ander Villarino not competing in the championship this year, he might be able to take up 1st place in the overall win list. Luca Lasser has managed to pull away from Thomas Ferrando since taking the place away. So the number 33 car looking ever more safe in 6th position. Thomas Ferrando, I think, might be struggling now. So for Alan Day, he is now on to his last lap of the race. 17 laps completed. It's a rather battered car of Dario Carzo. Still continuing around the circuit. He is 2nd of the challengers that we've got in the field at the moment. So Alan Day leads the race overall. 2nd, but the leading junior driver is Gianmarco Ercoli, and the leading challenger driver is down in 11th place at the moment. That's the number 89, Not Only Motorsport Chevy, in the hands of Davide Dallara. But for Alan Day, safely on his way, and looking as though he is on course for a fairly untroubled victory. Took the lead of the race from Stinus Longines earlier on, and since then has just been able to pull out enough of a gap from the cars behind. The mistake for Stinus Longines, or whatever happened at the Jackie X chicane, has aided his cause, and now it's just a case of the man from Israel stroking home the PK Car Sport Chevrolet. Plenty of wins in his career, but this is going to be his first win whilst he has been a PK Car Sport driver, and it is going to really move him into contention in the championship standings as well. He was only 5 points off Lasse Sorensen coming into this race, and Lasse Sorensen is up to 9th now from the car from the back of the grid. So mathematically this will give Alan Day the lead of the championship, subject to official confirmation. We've still got a fight going on for 7th and 8th as well. Martin Dubeck has not been able to shake away Francesco Cini's number 12 Solaris Motorsport Chevy over the course of the last lap or so. So Alan Day coming up towards the checkered flag. It's going to be a win in round 4 of the 2020 NASCAR Whelen Euro Series NASCAR Pro Division. Alan Day claims the win, his first for PK Car Sport, but his 21st of his EuroNASCAR career. It keeps him second in the all-time standings of wins in the top flight, and is now just one single race win away from equaling the 22 that Ander Villarino has. Second goes the way of Gianmarco Ercoli for Cal Racing, and it's another Cal Racing car that comes home third. Mark Goossens is the leading Belgian driver home at his home NASCAR Grand Prix, finishing in 3rd position. 4th place is Stinis Longines in the end with the number 11 Chevy, and 5th for Loris Hazemans and Hendricks Motorsport. Disappointing weekend points-wise for Loris, but with that injured right wrist, 5th, I would say, considering he's in pain still, is not a bad result. Damage limitation for him. 6th place in the end for number 88, which is Tomo Ferrando, who finished in 6th place. 7th for number 7, Martin Dubeck. 8th for 12, Francesco Cini. Lasse Sorensen 9th, and Davide Dallara was 10th because Luca Lasser, not quite sure why, came into the pits. And therefore that is going to drop the Frenchman down outside of the top 10. Retirement, sadly, at the Villeneuve chicane for number 5, Jacques Villeneuve. That is his 2nd retirement of the season, unfortunately, but he will, and the team, pack the car away. They'll bring it back to the workshop, and they will now focus their attentions on Most, that will be coming up as our next round of the championship. So it's some exciting times ahead in albeit a very strange 2020 with a late start to the season and a shortened calendar, but we're really looking forward to going back to the Czech Republic and Czechia, the Most circuit, for our 2nd ever visit with the NASCAR Whelen Euro Series, it having joined the calendar for the 2019 season, and the next of the races will take place there over the weekend of the 14th and 15th of November. Here's confirmation then of the results. It's a win for Alan Day, his 1st of the season, 21st of his career, but his 1st for PK Car Sport. 2nd place is Gianmarco Ercoli. He is the leading junior driver home, so he'll be on the top step of the podium for that. And 3rd was Mark Goossens. Stinis Longines, Loris Hazemans and Tomo Ferrando complete the top 6. Then it's Martin Dubeck, Francesco Cini, Lasse Sorensen and Davide Dallara that are completing the top 10. Justin Kuntz was there in 11th place, with Dario Carzo finishing in 12th place and Mauro Trioni in 13th position. Problems late on in the race for Luca Lasser, who brought the car into the pits. 15th in the end for Yevgen Sokolovsky, and then problems hit the likes of Patrick Lamary, Luigi Ferreira, Giorgio Maggi and Jacques Villeneuve. So Alan Day claims the win. Gianmarco Ercoli claims the win in the junior category, and a leading challenger driver home for the amateur drivers racing. Car is there in victory lane and will be joined shortly by Gianmarco Ercoli and the number 98 car of Mark Goossens. So it's 2 teams in the top 3 places represented on the podium. A PK Car Sport winner, but Cal Racing in 2nd and 3rd places. Chevy 1-2, the leading Ford home in 3rd position, and 3 different nationalities on the podium as well, such as the variety that we have in the NASCAR Whelen Euro Series. An Israeli on the top step of the podium, an Italian on the 2nd step, and it will be a Belgian driver that completes our overall podium here at Circuit Zolder. So Alan Day about to clamber out of the number 24 PK Car Sport prepared Monster Energy backed Chevrolet Camaro, and that is going to taste sweet. His 21st win of the 2020 season, his first. So 21 career wins, his first win of the 2020 season, and well, he had to work for it, didn't he? Stinis Longines was not easy, but he is through, and I think with that, mathematically, it also means that he picks up the overall championship. All of that, of course, subject to official confirmation, but a quick calculation of the maths means that, yeah, that's enough for him to pick up the championship lead. So the Monster Energy back driver is about to take off the crash helmet, and then off will come the hands device, and the balaclava as well. We'll have to make sure that he's got a mask on before we then carry out an interview. I think Andre is down there and ready to go. The cameraman is clearly there, hence the pictures that we're getting, and then we should be able to pick up conversation with Alan Day, and I guarantee he will mention that is now 21 wins and 1 away from Ander Villarino's record. So on goes the mask, then we'll get the cap on, and now it's time to have a word with our race winner. Alan Day is down there in victory lane.
Alan Day, your 6th win here at Circuit Zolder. It looked like a dominated one.
Yeah, it was a good one. Yeah, it was a long time since the last time I started next to my teammate, and me and Stinus always had great fights, and I really appreciate that. This is not a normal thing to have such a clean fight during so many years of competition against each other. I really appreciate that. Everybody did a great job, especially after the crash that this 24 Monster Energy car had this morning. The team did an amazing job. Everybody, they just gave me an unbelievable car. And yeah, what could I say? I think I'm leading the championship, and now it's time to focus for the next round. And hope to win it there.
All right, thank you very much. Congratulations, Alan Day.
Thank you.
Good to hear from Alan Day. Yeah, I mean, he's already done the maths, as I have. That gives him the championship lead. He didn't mention, though, that was 21 wins, and he's only now 1 away from the all-time win record that's held by Ander Villarino. And as was also mentioned there, 6 wins now at Zolder, 2 of them coming in 2015. He took 1 win in 2017 and did the double again in 2018, winning both of the races there. So it's a circuit that's been really kind to Alan Day over the years. But that wraps up an amazing weekend of pure racing here at Circuit Zolder for the NASCAR Whelen Euro Series. Don't forget, we will return to the track at Most in the Czech Republic on the 14th and 15th of November. That's all for the moment. Keep your eye on our social media channels, though, because we will be doing interviews with the top 3 and the winners of all of the various categories. But from everybody here at the NASCAR Whelen Euro Series at Belgium and those supporting us back in the UK, hope you've enjoyed our racing. Until next time, it's goodbye.